Hey everybody, this is Mike with the Mountain Weekly News. Welcome back to episode number 33 of the Everything Snowboarding and More podcast. This week's podcast is being brought to you by Spark R&D. Spark R&D are the makers of the most reliable, durable Splitboard bindings on the market. For more information, check out sparkrnd.com. This week's special guest is James Beisty. James Beisty is the founder of a website called Thegoodride.com. Our interview took place this year at the Outdoor Retailer Trade Show in Denver, Colorado in late January. And so this is a long interview. It's really, really cool. It's in-depth. You're going to learn a lot about snowboarding and the industry. And it's from two people that are kind of kooks. That's myself and James. So enjoy the episode, and thanks for tuning in. Hey everybody, this is Mike with Mountain Weekly News. I'm here with an old friend of mine, James from Thegoodride. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your website and your background in snowboarding?
I don't know. It's Thegoodride. I mean, just go to the site, you'll see. But I don't know. I just wanted a site that had the voice for the average rider. I'm exceptionally average. I'm a gear whore. And it just worked well for me. And I started, I think first time I snowboarded was 1989. I got on a Nidecker and I fucking loved it. And I was like, this is so cool. And I'd surfed all my life at that point. And I realized how expensive it was. So I just basically went back to surfing. It was too hard.
For sure.
You know, and I looked at my dad and I'm like, I need a snowboard. And he's like, because I was a teenager. Yeah. And he's like, I just bought you skis like 2 years ago. There's no fucking way. And so I was like, well, I'm a surfer then. And years went by, and every now and then I'd get a hookup from a friend who'd take me up to the mountains and give me a board or something, and I'd have a blast. And then I'd realize I had no money. And then in like the early 2000s, I actually got a real job that actually paid me money.
Real job, what did you do?
I was a telecommunications consultant. I looked at multiple carriers and said, which is the worst and which is the best for this company? But they all sucked in some kind of way. And it was great because I liked being objective. I didn't want to sell one thing. And I liked that, but I sucked at it. I was like the worst employee. I was always surfing. I was always in the mountains. I was, just nothing worked. And then I got the idea of Thegoodride when I put my collarbone through my trap and out my back. And they used a tendon to replace the wrist. And as I was waiting to kind of get back out there, I'd been dabbling in Excel spreadsheets for the 2 years before, trying to figure out what I was going to buy next. And it just kind of kept evolving and evolving. And I was like, I should publish this. And then that was the catalyst. It was like, okay, just do this. And it sucked. And it kept, as Peter said, you guys know Peter. He was like, dude, when you first started this, it sucked. And then it sucked a little less. And then it sucked a little less. And then it sucked a little less. You still suck. And that's what he would tell me right now. He'd go, you still suck, Biesty.
I agree.
Yes, I know.
As do I.
He goes, but you're still working at it and you're sucking less. And so that was Thegoodride.
So your background in telecommunications, you were kind of reviewing stuff. You already had a good idea of what you liked and what you didn't, and were able to kind of direct people maybe toward what was best for them.
Right. It's just all about finding what's best for them. It's not what I liked and what I didn't. It was finding the weakness that worked the best, or finding the strength that worked the best and the weakness that caused the least problems. And that's all I've ever been doing with snowboarding.
And so what is the website that they can find you at? How do you get to Thegoodride?
I've never done these podcasts. I didn't know is this product placement time?
Of course.
All right, thegoodride.com.
Okay.
And ask these guys questions, because this is Steph, my women's editor. And this is Zobel, and he's been helping me for years, and just an all-around good guy. And one of the things about the website is it's not just about my opinion, it's everybody else's. So.
How many boards did you review roughly this season?
I don't know. I think it's probably 20s, 30s so far. And then it really kind of picks up steam when the trade show and the demos are over. That's when everything starts getting shipped. And then it's just, I go till the snow's gone, till the resorts close.
And so for last season, the Thegoodride total, do you have any idea of how many boards you actually went out and tested?
I didn't count, but probably like 80 to 100, somewhere around there. It's just, there's lots that happens at the demo, but the magic time is when you review a lot of boards too. And it's just like, it's so much fun to actually get them, try them in different conditions instead of the frantic, manic demo dash.
Each day Biesty comes up to the resort, he pulls up in his Subaru and he has a quiver stack high on one side of his car of 20 boards or so. The other side is all bindings. And so then the first start is like, okay, what do we want to demo today? And then it's just a grab of, do we want, camber boards? Do we want aggressive boards, mountain boards? It's just what are we going to do today? And then it's a matter of then what brand, all those different things play into it. Because obviously what binding you're riding affects what board you're riding. So you want to choose what average people should select so that it's a better choice overall. Because in end, we're servicing most people out there, they want one board. They're not looking for their fifth or sixth board. They're looking what one board will get me on the mountain and have the most fun. So that's what we're trying to dial in for that average rider on the mountain that needs a good setup.
There's a trend right now.
Thanks, Zobel.
Yeah. Right now
it's the V harmony profile.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There is that trend where people think they need a quiver. And, for me, I think that, one good snowboard, an all-around board, that means so much more to me than going out. And your average consumer probably doesn't have 5 or 6 snowboards lined up at the house. And so to have a couple of those boards, the other point that you made about testing equipment, here at the trade shows, basically people go out and they take one run on the board and they're expected to give feedback, and we don't know what the conditions are even going to be at the mountain. It could be a ripping powder day with knee-deep powder. It could be sheet ice. It could be something in between. And so I think it's really hard, and a lot of the reviews that come out and a lot of the coverage in the magazines are based on this one run philosophy versus like what you're doing and other sites like myself.
And you're doing.
We get to actually go out and play with the product, different conditions, more than one run. And I think if you go through too many boards in one day, it's like, what feedback, what did I ride today, and how do you compare?
Well, what do you think of the demos?
I think they suck. Personally, I want to support SIA, the organization. I did a talk about influencer marketing with SIA earlier this year. I was really happy to get invited to that. But as far as the demos, I don't think it's very inducive. If they had the demo before the trade show, I think that would be different. I think that would create more stoke, probably sell a lot more boards because now people understand how it's going to ride. For instance, Academy has a line of camber snowboards, and there's a lot of people that won't touch that. They need to get out and actually try the boards. And I think once you actually try something, your opinion, I talked a lot of shit on BOA. Now I love BOA. Until I tried it, I didn't know.
Evolving,
It did.
Yeah.
The first conditions were really bad. People were getting locked.
Yeah, or it was just like, hey, I've got one lace from top to bottom, and I have, maybe I'm not even featured, but I have a bigger ankle and I need it loose on the bottom. So I was like, this is convenient, but fuck, man, this hurts my ankle. If I want my top to be as tight as my bottom, that hurts.
Speaking of boots, what's your daily driver?
I think lately the Mike Fox rendition of the Adidas Tactical ADV, that reminds me of the SLX I had in like 07. And it's just such a good boot for me. Might not necessarily be a good boot for, Hey, can you read that?
In case you guys hear something in the background, we had this note when we got into the podcast room. Thank you, OR, for providing this room, by the way. And it said, "Hi, podcasters. Take note of the fan. It'll cut in and out. Just stay on top of your levels, and it'll be all good." Okay, we're still there. What are we talking about? We're talking about boots.
But I that boot works for me, especially because I'm old and broken. It has lots of shock absorption, and it works. It works for me. It works for some other riders of ours, but Zobes likes.
I have the Adidas Samba right now, and I love them. And they have the BOA system, the dual BOA system. And at first,
you have the
response. Response, yes.
Yeah.
They look like a Samba tennis shoe, which is what I'm wearing today. So, but I was amazed because at first I I'm traditional lace all over the place.
Because
But
before, what'd you have?
I have the Burton Rovers.
Yeah.
Which I love those too, but the Adidas have the smallest footprint out there for boots. I'm a size 11 or 11 and a half. And so by getting down to that 10 or 10 and a half zone, I can then ride the normal mid-range.
Like the boards that I
widths.
get as a
Right.
size 9.
Right. And so I'm not towing out all the time, which is huge for me. So the Adidas I love, the Burtons are half a size smaller, so they're still good, and I love the Rovers, but the Adidas right now I love those. They're every day.
And because before that, we've been dabbling in toe reduction surgery, trying to like find like a good ride budget to maybe cut off Zobel and Jimbo's toes.
Right.
And maybe we could all ride the same board and have the same opinion, but now we don't have to.
Right, because again, averages, you go with your size 9 and Biestie's dainty little feet that he has that are almost on the small side.
They're beautiful.
Beautiful.
They're beautiful.
And
they're a little wide, but they're
Little
beautiful.
wide.
Yeah.
And then with mine, it's like I'm right on the cusp of needing the wide boards. And sometimes the boards I ride with Biesty are like, I like these boards, and sometimes they aren't offered in wides. So it's kind of hard to find that optimal board for your shoe size, even not let alone your riding style. So there's a lot of technicalities that we go into with all of these different boards that we're riding and we're evaluating. And it's good to have Biestie's frame versus my frame versus shoe size versus everything else that we go through.
I didn't realize that about Adidas being the smallest footprint. I have not been able to review their stuff, so I'd love to get a contact.
Sure. Yeah.
But Adidas, if you're listening, you know, their background in making shoes, and when they first came out, I think they had I don't know the exact technology, the Cush or the Air Cush.
Ultra Boost.
Ultra Boost.
By
That's
the way,
what I wear at trade shows. 'Cause
we've got a special guest here as well, Jim O'Leary. Jim used to be with YoBeat, and Jim was just saying, what was the technology in
It's
Adidas?
Ultra Boost. That's Adidas's EVA cushioning. It's a multi-pellet system that they do. That's a bit different from what everyone else
It
does.
looks
but
like a fucked up cooler.
Yeah,
It looks like a styrofoam cooler
Yeah.
from the 80s.
or like a
Yes.
smashed bike
And-
helmet is what I always say.
and
Totally
you're like,
the
yeah,
inside.
like, oh
Yeah.
god,
You get
I
those
don't
little pellets.
want to be on this, and then you get on it, and you're like,
It's nice.
it's nice for people with arthritis.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of boots, Jim, what's your go-to?
Yeah, since I'm on the list. I'm in 32 TM2 XLTs at the moment. I just have a 32 foot, and they've served me well, so I just haven't moved from them in years.
Yeah, my previous one was JP Walker's, which I was
Yeah.
in Lumber Park then,
Soft,
and they're really,
yeah.
really soft, and I love that.
Yeah, because they don't even have the full line.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
just the 4-foot. It's
Yeah.
not even the shaft.
Right.
And how
yeah,
about on the
anything with 32 that has rubber
Mm-hmm.
on the sole, it's like, cool,
Yeah.
but don't give me that EVA foam.
Yeah, I just switched over from
Oh.
some TM2s, which were just the blown foam, which
Ugh.
were comfy as hell, but
Did you ever do the disco splits in the lift line?
no,
'Cause
but
there's no traction. If you're talking to somebody and you're not looking down, you'll step on some ice and you'll just split out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a bad Travolta.
How about for ladies? What's the boot that you're liking?
Right now it's the Vans Farah.
Ooh.
There's not a ton of options. There's not a lot of higher end women's boots that have traditional lace with a rubber sole.
And talk about your card.
Oh yeah, it's my business card. So I'm a women's advocate for traditional lace boots. There's only a couple companies that make them
Yep.
still, and if they do make them, it's on the lowest end boot.
Yep.
Men always get a choice
Mhm.
mostly. So
Remember when we were looking, we were like, well, let's
Okay.
find your boot, you know. And
Yeah.
Every website we went to, she's just like,
Ooh.
Steph doesn't cuss, but I'm like, fuck. Well, no, this is a good company. They make really good boots. And then it's like, and then
That's how it is.
we were talking
Frustration.
to our friend who's a buyer, and Steph's like, do you think there ever be traditional lace? He goes, yeah, for pros. But it's
Yeah.
never gonna be.
They're the only
It's-
ones that want them.
Yeah, it's never gonna be for sale.
Yeah, it's tough making that switch as an old school snowboarder. I still love lace. We actually gave the Farah an award.
You
for,
sounded like Brick from Anchorman. I love
course.
lace.
I love lace.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the Farah is a great boot. We gave it this year's best women's snowboard boot. I love
Yeah.
Vans. I think that
They make some good shit.
they're comfortable the day you put them on. You don't need to
Mhm.
break them in. I've used the Patmore Infuse boot, which is
Love
a
that.
combination of lace, power strap, and boa.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so at that point, you can dial in, you can customize. And then at the end of the season, I mean, the boot's still as stiff as day one. They have stiffeners
That's
that you can
the
put back
coolest
in and
thing, huh?
just give a whole new life to your boot Where a lot of people, once you have a boot that fits, I remember back in the day having Northwave boots that I would use the same pair for 5 years because I was like, I'm not switching. And it's so uncomfortable to put my foot in a new boot. Deluxe just sent me a boot, the Spark XV.
That looks cool.
Yeah,
Gnarly, big
That's so
mountain
you, though.
boot.
I want to try it, but it doesn't, for a solid rider,
I would try it if I were you because
wanna.
I put my foot in and I was shocked how comfortable it was. I was like, this is a big mountain boot and it doesn't hurt to get into.
It looks like a ski boot on the outside.
It's fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
It's got like crampon. I don't do that shit. I'm not going out with ice axes. I don't even think Jeremy Jones is doing that. So it's a very niche market.
Yeah. There's the person you want to be and the person you are.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You know what this reminds me of is the first time we met and we were at this table. It was some weird conference.
Yes.
And we started talking and then we just kind of moved away from everybody else. And then the gear conversation just continued. And we were like, fuck this conference.
Yeah. Have you snowboarded Deer Valley yet?
No, I haven't. And I don't know if I want to.
Right.
You know me, despite my last name, I'm not a confrontation guy. But maybe if I drank 6 or 7 cups of coffee, I'd love to go out and just get into it.
What does your
But-
email signature say these days? It always changes, and I always like getting emails from you.
Oh,
So currently, what would be
Just
the signature? line?
exceptionally average, I think.
I love that, and I love that about you, and I love that about your reviews. Snowboarding used to be attainable. When I got into snowboarding, the guys were doing a 360 in the mag, and I was like, I
Right.
can go out and learn this. Like a
Yeah.
board slide was like solid. Like you can do a board slide, and then you can do a front side. And now it's like gymnastics.
It
And I
is.
don't know that your average person can watch the X Games or any of this and be like, oh, I can do that.
That's why people like us, because we just celebrate mediocrity,
Yeah.
you know?
Do you try and do a video for each product review that you do?
I try. Generally kind of consistent, like personality-wise, I'm kind of always the same. Steph knows she spent too much time already with me. But
Yeah, your humor is very dry in some of the videos.
That's when he needs us to spice
Yeah.
it up a little
Yeah.
bit.
yeah, but I generally do a video. Sometimes I'm not in the mood, and I just write it and write about it. But I try my hardest to do a video now because that's kind of what the readers want, I think. Don't you?
They do. Our
Yeah.
attention span sucks now, and that's the reason we started doing a podcast. Spark R&D is one of our advertisers, and Will Ritter said, "Hey, I don't have time to read your reviews. Have you listened to the Blister podcast?" I said, "No, I'll check it out." And so they were just talking about gear. He's like, "Just talk about the stuff that's on your website so that I can just digest it wherever I'm at. You know, in the
weird.
car,
Like
at
driving.
work."
Yeah,
that's good.
okay.
And with the website, we're seeing the amount of time on the site go down, but people are watching videos. And it used to be they wanted these long videos. Now people's attention span's so short, and it's just like coming back and coming back and coming back. And
We're
it's
all
like,
lab rats these days.
we are.
Yeah. Just show us where the cheese is and we'll get there.
Now you use Vimeo more than YouTube, is that correct?
Yeah.
And is there any reason to use that platform?
Not really. I just like Vimeo, and I feel like when you're done with that video, they show your next video.
Yes.
Just YouTube is cool and everything, and I love putting up teasers on there. But as it stands, as we're talking, this could change in 3 weeks.
Right.
Who knows? But my marketing officer just is like, just keep it there for now. Let's figure something out later.
Yep.
Because we still, even if you want to look at stuff, it's probably better to come to our sites as opposed to have that other platform.
Of course.
And that platform's great, but then we're just a YouTube channel,
Yes.
And that I think you kind of feel the same way, right?
And it's kind of how I feel about social media. Do I
Yeah.
want to stoke out this Facebook feed and have people there and supporting Mark Zuckerberg and have them getting ads, or do I want to somehow have
Yes.
people coming direct to my site?
Right.
The
Yeah.
social media, I think it's a joke, and the industry is so caught up. Look at me. It's getting dangerous. I mean, athletes are
think at
having to go out and push themselves to a level that's
Yeah.
not sustainable for anybody.
At the bottom of my thing, it says like us on Instagram because sometimes we try to do shit on it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I actually, now that I have somebody helping me with Instagram, I'll look and check our thing, and then I'll get sucked into every cool snowboarding because it's just all snowboarding. And then my wife is like, "Could you look at your kids for a little bit?" And then I'm like, all right, I'm putting it down for the rest of the night. But I can see why it's so addicting, and I can see why we should do it. but I don't know if it's the whole thing.
But is that the platform we want?
Yeah, it's
That's
not
the
the
thing.
platform, but it's a great vehicle for people to see who we are, and
Right.
maybe some people just don't want to geek through our site all day,
Yeah.
and then they'll see a feed on Instagram, they'll see a board they like, and then they'll go there. So maybe that works. Same with YouTube, but I don't want to put all my cards in there.
We don't have an Instagram presence.
Really?
And there's been 2 brands that refused to work with me because of that. The first was Rome Snowboards, and I went up to the
Really?
guy at Rome, Matt or whoever it was, and I called them
Stillman?
out. Yeah, and now they work with us and they love the reviews. But I laughed and I said, if you're judging a metric specifically on one thing and likes and fans, I can go buy 100,000 fans for Facebook tomorrow and make it
Got
look
it.
like, oh, check us out. I worked for Teton Gravity Research doing their affiliate marketing.
Right
We-
before I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 300,000 Facebook fans. I would do a post, we would reach 100 and 200,000 people. We would talk about gear, we would sell $40,000, $50,000 product in a day.
Wow.
While I was there, Facebook changed their algorithm. We could
Mhm.
only reach 10% of our fans.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And
So all of a
Right.
sudden we have 30,000 people we can talk to. We had built this audience, we had paid, we had done campaigns, newsletters, giveaways. It's the same thing with Instagram, these
Same
other, and
thing,
that's
and
where I
they-
think
they
the
just-
podcast and your videos, like you own that. And if you get somebody to
Yeah,
come
thanks.
to your site, that's real and that's honest. A lot of times you'll see these articles, the best ofs or whatever it is, and it's just a picture of a board. They've never even tested it.
Yeah.
Some brands, when you ask them for a review, they're like, well, we could send you specs or images. I'm like, how's that going to work with the model that,
No, we
Right.
look at my backpack. I'm just walking around with Jameson. All we do is go around here and drink and collect catalogs and figure out what we're going to do after. That's all this is.
I'm surprised that you take appointments. I will say right now, you are the #1 snowboard review site and one of the most popular just snowboard sites out there when I look at marketing and metrics. And so for you,
Which is surprising because we still suck.
well, of course, all of us, it's snowboarding.
Yeah.
It's like, really, how can you take
I don't
yourself
think that's
seriously
true,
at this
yeah.
trade show? We like to have fun. We slide around on snow. There's people in this building that are in their 60s and 70s that are going on 16. And when I first saw that industry, I was like, oh my God, you guys are adults and you have professional jobs and you get to go have fun and like be young and wear hats and like tennis shoes. I'm like, this is cool. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, since we're drinking and really getting honest, trends in snowboarding. What do you like and what do you don't like right now?
Well, I'm not really here to talk about trends or, you know what I mean? It's not my job. It's for me here to just report what's happening, how it rides, and figure out how it works.
Oh, come
with
on,
the
be
rider
be
following
honest
the trend.
here. Just
What do you
what
like?
do you
That's
what-
actually, I've been honest since we've started.
Okay, do you like
That's the site's goal, is not to just hop on trends or this, not go all in with one. You know
Okay,
what
how
I mean?
about I start?
right.
I'll start with what I like
Because
about
Mike, you and I love you, but we're different
we're
people.
very different people.
Especially, dude, I'll tell you, when I had a head-on collision and almost died, my perspective in life changed. And for some weird reason after that, I could see everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
And so I'm not here to say where the industry should go. They'll
Oh.
choose that.
Oh, come on. You are a driver in this industry and what you talk about affects sales and orders.
My steering wheel isn't there.
Your steering wheel is
I
definitely there.
just observe and report.
I think for me, I like to see a lot of the lines are shrinking and they're starting to focus on, when I was riding resorts, I wanted a top to bottom board. I wanted a board I could ride some powder at the top, maybe hit some fast groomers halfway down, go through the half pipe, which don't exist anymore, or their super pipes are 22
Mammoth.
Steph rides a Mammoth. She's
Yeah,
three.
man, it's fucking gnarly. Like
Yeah.
Copper Mountain. I
That's a
went to the
nice
demo
budget,
and-
by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I think these quiver and the niches become a little
You and I,
much.
you know what? Okay, I will say this. Now I get where you're going with this. I will say that still like 70% of the readers are kind of looking for a one board quiver.
Okay, cool.
And one thing I don't like about the industry is they go all in with twin. They go all in with directional.
Yes.
They go like, have you guys, thank you. Okay. I would say, have you guys ever seen Tropic Thunder?
Yes.
Okay. You know when Robert Downey Jr. is talking to Ben Stiller and Ben Stiller's talking about I Am Sam when he went full retard?
Full retard.
Sometimes the industry does go full retard one way or the other.
Mhm.
And you go home empty-handed.
The Ride Alter Ego was one of those examples, the
Oh,
split
the split,
tail, and it
yeah.
was like, you guys don't make that anymore? Like, no, there was no orders. I was like, yeah, that was a little progressive.
Well, I
Way
remember
the fuck
riding
out
that,
there.
and when the tail wasn't split,
Yep.
it was good. But
Yep.
when it split, sometimes it would catch.
Yes.
Inside edge.
Yeah, that inside edge would just fuck up your line.
So you're still seeing that your consumer and your average snowboarder, that's the thing. Sometimes it's easy to talk to this 1%, splitboarding or backcountry
Yes, yeah.
snowboarding.
There's always an opinion.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
people that look for that. How many days average do you think your average snowboarder rides? I think Jim knows this.
10, 15,
less
right?
than 10
Three.
probably.
My number's from a several years old Transworld business article, so the number may not
Okay.
be exact, but it represents the reality. And it's 2.
Oh, I was
Yeah,
close.
one
Are you-
weekend.
2 days a
Yeah.
year.
That's why we're
That was
successful.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's this
Yeah.
it's this lie that the industry keeps telling itself that like most snowboarders are really
Yeah.
super casual.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing is I think I love companies. Sometimes like one company will do one thing really well.
Mhm.
That's their niche. And that's cool. And if that's what they want to be at the time that it's trendy, that's cool. But the companies that I've seen year in, year out that do well, we're talking like Yes, Never Summer, Mervyn, sometimes, they come and go,
Yep.
but they don't hop on one trend and commit to
Mhm.
it. They evolve. Rome does that too. So many companies do that. And some companies just go like, we're all twin
Mhm.
or we're all directional. And those companies I see come and go. But the companies that don't, they might dabble more with one style and, and they might do it really well and it might be most of their sales, but they didn't neglect that guy kind of in the middle or that
Mhm.
guy who's maybe park or jib oriented and they have something for everyone. That's what stokes me because we're all a group of individuals and we're like the Democratic Party. We can't get shit done. It's like we're a group of individuals and we all have our opinions and what we want. And that's like what Thegoodride's about, air conditioning and telling people like, hey, it's not about us, it's about you.
Yes.
And that's our whole thing. Steph and I had this talk
Yes.
when she first started. She was like, well, this is what I like. Should I be honest about what I like? And I'm like, yes, but you should also remember what everybody else, like it's not, you know what I mean?
It's not all about my opinion and my personal preference. It's about like, hey, who is this for? Who is it going to benefit? Like what?
And I think sometimes the snowboard industry gets in trouble when I live in a resort town. I've lived in a ski town for 20 years. I think everybody does this. It turns, I'm just surrounded by people that are,
Yeah.
and again, you're talking less than 1%. I mean, there's 16 million people in the U.S. that ski and snowboard. How many people live in the U.S.?
Yeah.
I don't know, billion or something. Not more than 16 million. So it's a very, very
Have we been
small.
breeding quickly? Because I thought we were 300.
I think
300 million?
300 million, yeah.
Really? Is that all?
I was like,
Maybe 350, but something
Yeah.
like that.
Jeez.
we're
Shows what my
transitioning.
math is.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot more.
We're transitioning into rabbits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, to your point, like you ride resort in Jackson, which is a completely different.
Oh, yeah.
I'm East Coast based. I live in Boston.
Yeah.
The snow at Waterville is fundamentally different than what you're getting at
Yeah.
Jackson. And so it's a different animal. Like you're saying, when brands go all in on this one
Yeah.
idea that
They shut
works
out
at your
whole
one
audiences.
place, but it doesn't work for everyone else.
I
Yeah.
sent Jim a Splitboard this year to ride East Coast resorts. And I was like, who's your average person? When I reviewed the Rome, I was like, this board the Rome tram line. I said, this board rides better in shitty snow than I've ever seen any board ride. And I wrote that and I said, well, you guys are based on the East Coast. I was like, this is probably an amazing board for the conditions that you have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that changes things completely.
Mhm.
Completely.
Yeah, and that's why when people email me, they have to fill out a Me Harmony profile before I'll answer a question. And that's why I don't like social media because sometimes people will just be like, "Is this board right for me?"
You don't allow
And-
comments on your website because you would rather have people contact you directly and have more of a one-on-one conversation. Is that correct?
Yeah, first I want to keep it a positive environment, and I don't want people to feel intimidated. Sometimes people will hop on something, and they want to ask a question. They're stoked on the sport. You don't want a bunch of people jumping at them, and
Right.
making fun of them, and making them feel uncomfortable. So I make them email me directly, and I make them fill out a Me Harmony profile, so it's just between me and them. And then I answer the email.
Is your wife okay with that?
Yeah, she says because it's gear whoring, it's not cheating.
Speaking of which, that used to
Yeah.
be part of your signature, right?
I think I was a gear whore extraordinaire for a while.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll remember some other ones as we go.
He still is.
Yeah,
I'll never
definitely.
stop being. I don't know if it's politically correct or not, but it's kind of who I am.
Let's swing back to the trends. As a surfer, as somebody that's actually surfed,
Somebody who surfs small waves.
yes, small
Yeah.
waves.
I love your hat, by the way. So I walk in here, and Mike's wearing "I surf small waves," and I used to have a T-shirt just like that.
And where is this from?
Santa Barbara.
Sawyer.
Just ripping right point breaks.
Yeah.
Just mastering small.
I think it's Stacy at Sawyer and Company. Is that her?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
think
just
that's the
bought
name
the
of the
shirt.
company.
I never. You do
Yeah.
all the due diligence. I just went. That was cool. I'll
But-
take that.
But as a surfer, there's this trend, snow surfing and these different shapes. What's your thoughts? I mean, honestly.
I still love twins. I still love ASIM twins. I love going out and riding switch. I think just it's the day and the mood and the time.
Yep.
But then sometimes, just the other day, I was on the crew of Dart and it just fucking lit me up and I had a blast.
Yep.
So it's not about one board. Like Steph, you love twins.
Mhm.
So,
I'm not a surfer,
Yeah.
so they don't make sense to me, and I have to work hard to
Right.
understand them.
There's a
And
lot of resort style snow surfboards, and they have their place, and that's mostly just on a powder day, and you're gonna get one day, and maybe even a couple only one run. So it's kind of hard to place. But then there's a lot of little companies popping up just for snow surfing off resort. And I think that actually has a lot of merit going in for get off resort, go hike a little mountain, go have a couple turns, and I've done it. It's super fun. You hit a couple rocks and you get right back up again, and it's amazing. It's fun. And definitely completely different than resort riding.
I like that you mentioned the difference because when I think snow surfing in the backcountry and powder is very close to surfing, especially whether it's snowboarding
Yeah.
or you're riding one of these shapes with a big boat hole nose or the cool tail. When I see it at the resort, I just laugh. I cringe. I'm like, oh my God, you're trenching groomers on the board that's really made for riding POW. And now
Right.
you're like, I'm just going to go out and pretend I'm surfing. You see these guys laying out into turns. I'm like, if you were surfing, you would fall off your board like that.
Yeah.
That's
you're
not-
not attached to a binding.
This is
No,
not
But
surfing per
let
se.
me tell you this though. I do love going out and carving on surf style boards. I think it's great. But if it's like a free time groomer day, that might be my morning. But then in my midday, I want like an ASIM twin and I want to try to keep getting better at snowboarding. Go out, ride switch, try new things and have fun. And I think that's what makes snowboarding cool is you can do anything you want. And I don't know, it's just trends. And then, you get on the chairlift and some guy tells you how cool camber is and this and that. And they lecture you and you're just like, oh, cool.
That's
Okay.
nice. That's nice.
Yeah. Good talk. Yeah.
People are passionate about this.
Yes.
It's funny you mentioned, how things go kind of full circle. Your first board was a Nidecker.
Yeah.
Out of all the boards in the show right now, I think the Nidecker boards are some of the best I've seen. And Nidecker's under the parent company of Jones and Yes.
On
They-
top of
Nidecker
them.
is
They're
yeah,
on top of
and
them.
so they've always,
Yeah.
15 years ago, they had bindings that were light years ahead of everyone else. And then they disappeared because it's the European and the Switzerland cross. And even here in the show, there's brands here that are amazing, but they're based in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people that are like, oh, there's no value there. You're a UK brand. You're based in the Czech Republic. And some of this stuff is just next level, but because of the branding or it's not in North America. And then on the flip side, there's companies down in the sourcing area that have gear that's equivalent of the North Face or Patagonia are the best brands. And when you talk to these companies, they manufacture these goods for the companies. And so now they've got the patterns. We're seeing this with boards. There's certain brands right now, major industry brands, that if you go on to the Chinese sourcing sites, you can buy these snowboards in quantity for about $100 a pop. What's happening is these companies are hiring a factory to manufacture.
Yeah.
And now the factory is saying, well, we can sell these boards too. We have your pattern.
That's been a trend in the industry, outside of the industry for years. Jet companies would come in and see at a trade show the same jet
Cell phone
by
companies.
the company that made. Yeah.
Well, the same thing we're talking about down on the
Yeah.
floor with like just how you buy the boards. It's like now Amazon obviously is coming in the picture. And so side story with my family life is like buying diapers is like with my little 17-month-old, which just went snowboarding in Jackson last week.
Nice.
Buying diapers on Amazon. It's like buying through Pampers or whoever, and they're not Pampers. So it's like you kind of worry about when it's getting to this global extreme of mass distribution.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So between 2012 and 2014, Amazon launched 2 private label clothing lines. They didn't really do anything after that for a couple of years. And 2016 to 2018, they launched 60 private label clothing lines. Amazon's next play is to go into the outdoor space, specifically hard goods and soft goods. They have buyers right now on the show floor that are going up to
Sure.
brands saying, we'd love to work with you. We're going to order XYZ boards, and this is what we're going to pay you. And it's way below what they'd ever get. Amazon's the first one to be able to price fix. They sued the Book Publishers of America and said, you guys have always sold your books at a certain price. We're going to sell your books, but we're going to sell them for whatever we want. Take it or leave it. When your consumer reads a review and they want to buy a board, where do they end up?
I don't know because I don't ask.
Where do they have the potential to end up via your site?
Well, we have links to major companies, and one of the things I've been trying for years and unsuccessfully is trying to help a small shop. And you reach out to them and you talk to them, but then they have such an antiquated billing system, or the guys literally can't figure out how to get visibility on your site. Hopefully in the coming year, we might have a solution for them finally, because I have this web developer who's really good. He's a guy I actually gave advice to, and then just goes, he's Dutch, and he goes, Tim, love you, Tim. He goes, well, actually, your site sucks, and I could do a lot better. And so we started talking, and then he fixed it. He started making it better. And he's working with our marketing guy, and we're all trying to put together a solution that might actually really help small shops compete on the same level as the big guys. And that's something, because one of my friends, great guy, and he's a buyer, and when I was starting my site, he was working at a small shop, and we just ride together every day, try to solve world problems, and talk about gear. And as the Thegoodride started growing and became my full-time job, and he got a job at a better company and a better company, and now he's like a buyer for a really big company. And we've always talked about this. It's like, how do we help everybody, and hopefully we'll have a solution, but I don't know. It's all great on the dry erase board.
How can people support your website? So they come in, they read this very in-depth review. They can even see reviews of that same board from previous seasons, or at least in the past. They've watched your video. They're like, okay, I'm buying this board. How do they support you?
Well, that's the question, is because it's tough. I want to just make this a place where they can stop by and see, but we have to stay in business. So it's a difficult question. There's never any obligation, and I'll help anybody, but they can donate, they can click through our links or whatever. But that's not why we all did this. And if I was in it for money, I'd be in a fucking another place right now. I wouldn't be talking to you.
Of course.
I actually, when I started dating my wife, she's a together girl.
Yep.
And
She's beautiful, by the way.
Oh.
James has, I'm sorry, but I'm very attracted to your wife.
Thanks.
And I get punched across the table drinking Jameson.
No, that's kind of weird, but cool. I mean, at least it's validating my turn-ons.
So you're not going to leave me alone with her, is what you're trying to say?
No.
I mean,
Okay,
I didn't
smart.
before I even met her, we were riding the chairlift, and I said I loved her. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
Peter Shaman, who I wish was here, Peter's been helping me with the site forever, and he's the funny guy on the site.
He's the guy in the videos, right?
The blonde guy, yeah.
Yes, yes.
He has the charisma of a movie star. He's fucking hilarious. But Peter told me once, he goes, if you die, I'm going to be there every day to take care of Betsy. I'm going to raise your kid. And
course.
it's this whole long story,
Of
and it's
course.
hilarious.
And there's stories like that exist. They're kind of creepy, but like the best friend.
It
just
happens.
moves in,
It
you're like,
happens.
Wow.
One of my neighbors, they were best friends, and her husband passed, and they're now married.
Okay, since we've got
But
Jim
anyways,
here.
let me tell you the last thing. I told my wife, let me set the expectation level early. I want to snowboard for a living, and if you want to marry me, be prepared for hardships. And she did it anyways, so that was cool.
When I first started the blog, my mom said, how are you going to do this? And it's a blog. I mean, don't
Yeah.
Mountain Weekly News, don't kid yourself. She said, how are you going to do this?
I would say you're a news source. I
Thank
wouldn't
you.
say you're a blog. I don't.
It was like only celebrities can make money doing this. It's like, what do you mean? And for me, it was just a passion project. For so many years, I didn't make money. And then it was like, oh, there's revenue. And luckily we got sponsors, and REI was a great
Oh,
supporter.
they're fucking great.
Spark R&D has just been
Spark's
a wonderful
good
partner, for splitboarding.
Definitely.
So there's a lot, but it's tough because going out, I've tried to sell advertising here, and it's brutal. And the snowboard industry, I mean, that's not a fun place to operate in.
It's
And
retail. It's
marketing
so
budgets are
Yeah,
shrinking.
It's weird.
I mean, we got Jim here. Jim
Yeah.
used to work for YoBeat,
Yeah, I was ad sales at YoBeat for years.
and how'd that go?
Brutal, pulling teeth, and it's a continual fight for people looking for. Oh well, what will you give me? It's advertising. Like no advertising in any situation gives you anything.
There's no ROI there. You're not
No.
gonna like spend
It's
$1,000
all
bucks
hope.
and make
You hope it gives
$100,000
you
in
something.
return.
And so it's brutal. It's not. It was never an easy conversation.
James, did you ever go to YoBeat? For me, it was too bra. It was way above my head.
Well, see, Mike, this is the weird thing. I live in a bubble, and all I do is work and snowboard. So I don't go anywhere.
So you didn't have the time to go even
I don't-
on these
I
other
don't-
random.
I occasionally somebody said, like on a chairlift, hey, look at this. And I was like, oh, that's funny. You
Yeah.
know, but I'm like,
Mhm.
they're probably making fun of me later.
Yeah.
And I don't care. There's not enough time in life to worry about that.
Right.
It's time just ever forward, keep reviewing, keep working,
Yes.
be you in a world that isn't,
And I
that's-
like the authenticity that you have. A lot of times you see these message boards in the peanut gallery, and it's just people that you actually live it. You're in Santa Barbara. I think you spend half the
No, I'm
winter
in
in
Bend.
Tahoe, or you're in Bend now.
Yeah, I've been
Whoa.
living
He
in Bend.
abandoned us down in Mammoth to.
Whoa! And so you're
I lived
living
in
it.
Tahoe for a few years full time. Then my wife, actually, Mrs. Betsy Biesty,
Okay.
works in green energy, and she loves her job as much as I do. So she asked me to move.
These people need you.
I don't know about that.
They
I
do.
think we're
Everybody
pimple-
needs a little
You
beastie in their
you guys
lives.
are a resource, though.
We're a
Yes.
pimple on an ass of an elephant.
If you go on Google or whatever search engine you
You're
want to
the
use,
number
and
one
you search
search
like, "Hey,
results.
I thought I liked the Burton skeleton key," great board, and you go and search it, Burton shows up, and then the Thegoodride,
Yeah.
and then you see actual real reviews.
Thank
of
you,
people
Tim.
riding, and
My web developer.
and
Yeah.
you see really good input from people actually using hardware. If you go to Burton's site, not ripping on Burton, but it's like you see the tech specs.
Yeah.
And you see a picture of it. It's a pretty board.
Google's getting smart to this, and so now if all of a sudden you have a Vimeo and you have
Right, yeah,
content
video
and
play.
your content's being updated in every season, they're like, oh yeah, this is what our consumer wants.
Is that what Google says to me?
Google has these sliders, I'm trying to
like-
think like Google on a daily basis, and
Yeah.
if you're not
Google's
on Google,
God.
you're dead.
Google's God.
It is.
Yeah.
You know
what
where
were you going to say?
Board reviews was never exactly the bread and butter at YoBeat, but the handful of times we did it as part of one of the few ad revenues we got to sell, I would check you guys first, so I made sure I wasn't saying the same thing. Genuinely, because what's the point?
Jesus.
My whole perspective in writing anything is try and say something someone hasn't already said. And you guys have the tech covered so well that I didn't want to go into it.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you.
what's your thoughts on backcountry snowboarding? I'm so lucky that you're not a splitboarder, and that James is going to come out to Jackson, and we're going to do a trip, and I want to introduce him
Invite me.
to this
Dude,
crew.
invite Zobes.
And it's such a niche market. Even guys going out of the backcountry, out of a ski resort, there's a term that people use. It's backcountry. It's uncontrolled. That's how I look at it. What's your thoughts on person comes to your website, they're reading it, they buy this board. What's that next step for somebody that you see that's your average rider that maybe wants to?
Well, first off, talk to Mike about safety, because, like you said, a lot of people come to me and say, hey, I want to know your opinion on solids because I'm looking at buying a split, right? And I'm like, well, I can't tell you about anything about the up. And I can't even tell you about the down because it's split. But these are the boards we like. This is the thing. But will you promise me that you just fucking go get a certification? Can you just fucking be safe?
Yep.
Because growing up surfing, people die here and there, and it's random, right?
Very random. I mean,
But
it's
it's like Hawaii. It's
Yeah.
like it's
Mavericks.
it's guys who are going big, Totos,
yes.
you know, and backcountry kills anybody everywhere.
It kills
Anytime.
beginners and experienced people.
Mhm.
30, 40 years experience in the backcountry and they still die.
They die. They
There
die.
was an avalanche course in Silverton a couple weeks ago where a student died. It was a level 2 course. 6 people got buried.
Jesus.
These are people starting to go on
They're
a
in a- they're
professional
level 2.
track
Yeah.
course to learn, and it's
But
like it doesn't matter who
The
you are.
weirdest thing about the backcountry, it's not like surfing where you're out in huge waves and you know shit's weird and it's gonna hurt you. They're outside sets and
Yep.
you're like, you remember you and I surf. You know the outside set. And you're like, God,
Scrapping.
I wish I
Oh.
swam harder in swim practice. Years ago, and
This wave's
and,
about to break in front of me. Oh, God.
You're like, this could kill me. Snowboarding is quiet.
Mhm.
It's peaceful. It lulls you into thinking that everything's
you have
okay.
you have another stoke level. It's like
Yeah.
I want to ride that line.
Yeah.
I've ridden stuff like that on the resort all the time. This is gonna be fresh powder. Let's
Yeah.
go do it.
You think everything's okay,
Mhm.
and then you're dead.
I love that you say the resort part because the most dangerous avalanche terrain is about 32 to 35 degrees.
30 to 45.
Yeah.
Intermediate,
Mhm.
And
advanced.
that's every resort.
Get into the super gnarly shit, it's already sliding. You get into something under 32 degrees, it just doesn't have the mechanics. But I like that you say that education. We're seeing people that show up that have an airbag, beacon,
No,
shovel
doesn't matter.
probe,
Doesn't
and no
matter.
education, and you're like, what is
Yeah.
this?
No,
Skip
from,
the step.
from backcountry.
You know the old rule: don't skip
If-
steps. You don't remember Monty Python?
Of course.
Okay, do you remember the meaning of life?
No.
No, you,
You're
any
old.
of you?
Come on.
Okay, I'm
Just
old.
kidding.
But he
James
says,
Howell, actually, we're
I wanna go on record
fucking
that I remember
super
it. I
old.
just-
Okay, I'm
yeah.
super old, by the way. I'm older.
James
than-
has some gray in his beard. I got a little patch right here that's coming through.
I
I'm
got
pretty happy.
gray after my first kid. It just all the reds went white. But anyways, John Cleese is doing a sex education thing, and he says, "How do we turn on the woman?" The guy goes, "Stimulate the clitoris." He goes, "Don't go stampeding off to the clitoris." That's like he's like, "What's wrong with a kiss, boy?"
Yeah.
That's backcountry sometimes. They
Kinda
buy
like-
everything and they just run off to the peak.
Kind of like the
They
bowl.
forget the Avi. They forget the Avi classes.
Yeah.
You know.
No. Do your Avi class, get your beacon probe and shovel, learn how to use them, learn how to save your
You-
partner. Don't go out with other people that you think are experienced because they may make a mistake.
Mhm.
You need to have that same experience too.
Yeah.
The expert halo is what
Yes.
we're really
Mhm.
starting to
That's
talk
real.
about the human factor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've taken my level 3 professional course and
Nice.
I want to go up to Canada and even take more education. When I go ski with people, if I'm taking them out or a partner, I say, if at any time today I feel uncomfortable with what you're doing, I'm going to let you know.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yes.
I need you to
Yes.
stand up. And so many times people go out, guides and ski patrol and these expert people, they're the ones that get caught a lot because they're like, well, now I can start playing with science. And like you said, it's all peaceful and it's a beautiful day and Bluebird. And now
That's when you die.
Yeah.
That's when you die.
and this is serious. A lot of this industry doesn't really talk about that. When you buy climbing gear has this will not protect you. They have skull and crossbones on this shit. It's like full on, and the insurance has been like, we have to put this on there. You don't see that with Splitboards. Jones,
So, Mike-
I think, might say, oh, be careful, take a
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
They're just like, here, just take
Yeah.
this shit,
No,
go buy
you know
it.
what, Mike? The worst thing I hate, like, as a solid rider, like a solid snowboard rider, all these guys who split, go backcountry, go, come with me, Biesty. You know, I'll take you out. And I'm like, well, I'm not comfortable with that. And then they say, well, I'm certified. And I said,
No.
well, what happens if something happens to you?
Oh, I love it.
You're going to fucking die because
I
I'm going
love
to
it.
sit there pounding your chest like an ape.
If you can
You
even
know?
find them.
Right.
Yeah, if I can find him. This is stupid.
And then the
you know?
avalanche courses are one thing. I'm a professional in that regard. I don't know anything about first aid.
Right.
Right.
So I've now started having to take these courses. It's like, oh yeah, you get hurt.
No.
What are you going to do now?
I took first aid with my wife. She got 100%. I got a 78, and I'm like, I'm not going up. She's too smart.
No, but going back to your
Yeah.
your airbag and even the aqua or lung or whatever, even if you're trained, it only saves 5 to 10%
Mhm.
if you use it correctly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like it's not gonna, if you get stuck in avalanche, you still will probably die.
Mm-hmm.
I offended a lot of this industry a few years ago. I made stickers that said, it was a picture of a brain, and it said, my brain is smarter than your airbag. And a lot of people got it, and they're like, yes, thank you, human factor. Don't go setting off avalanches. If you've set off an avalanche, you've really fucked up. You
Right.
haven't listened to the
Yeah.
signs. They don't just randomly happen. People are in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the safety message just needs to completely change because
Mike, if I can take an avalanche course by the time I meet you in March, I will.
well,
If
actually,
not, we're going to go like, hey, do you have some 15-degree pitches?
well, and it's one thing that I want to start doing
I'm not going to
is
do it.
teaching avalanche courses specifically to splitboarders.
Nice.
And I think as an industry, how easy would it be for Jones or any of these brands to link up with REI and say, hey, Weston's doing that right now. I think
Mhm.
Weston Snowboards is one of the brands that I am the most excited about. Their growth, their message, they're authentic. You know, they're building boards because they're going out and they're what Never Summer was 15 years ago. They're
Yeah.
riding boards, they get it. And they've linked up with REI and they had a package and they said, hey, we're doing these introduction to Splitboard clinics. Could we link up with you guys? REI's like, are you kidding? Of course. Like, we're selling this goods.
Fantastic.
That's
Why
smart.
not show
yeah.
people how to use it? And he said only 10% of the day is actually splitboarding. The rest is like terrain management.
Right.
I ski in the
Yeah.
backcountry every day, and I rarely go into avalanche terrain.
Yeah.
Let me
Right.
say that again. I'm in the backcountry every single day, and I rarely go into avalanche terrain. That was something that was hard for my parent, my mom, I mean, everybody. And it's like, you can go to a ski resort, you know, maybe you don't drop into the 22-foot super pipe unless you're an experienced rider. You
Yeah.
don't go hit the 60, 70, 80-foot jump lines.
Remember those kids at like Mammoth who
Oh, some people do. They
hit
don't
the
come out.
70-foot kicker and they cleared
Not at
it,
all.
landed in the flats, and drove their spine into their brain and
Yeah.
died?
Stuff like that happens
Yeah.
every weekend.
Or shatter
at
your
Mammoth.
shoulder.
Every single
Yeah.
What about injuries? I mean, you're on the mountain a lot. Have you dealt with any injuries over the years snowboarding?
Yeah, lots. But it's just like people ask me like, what do you do for the summer? I'm like, physical therapy. That's all I do. I get one surf trip in, and when I was younger, like I told you earlier, I was in a head-on collision, and I almost died. I had blood transfusions, and my sternum hardened. I broke my ribs, lost my spleen. Oh, cool, dude. I'm done. By the way, this has been great, but
I just waved at James and said 5 minutes.
yeah,
Super
and I said I'm
unprofessional.
cool. I'm done.
By the
I
way,
don't
this is
ever
not-
do this shit.
One thing I like to say about this is not like the Snowboard Project podcast. We're not asking for your
You
money.
trying to get me in trouble?
Jim was interviewed by Mark Sullivan, and I love Mark. Mark started Snowboard Mag and Tailgate Alaska, and he's got this great podcast. But the entire time he's like, "Sign up for my Patreon, donate. This is advertising-free podcast. Sign up to my Patreon. Give me money."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Dude, come on! It's fucking snowboarding.
Yeah.
Just give that information out for free." Imagine if you had a site that you had all this information and you told people you need to pay to access this. Come on, like you're
That's not who we are.
no, it's
No.
fucking snow. I want to share this with everybody. And overall, at the show, the last couple days, is there any products that have just made you think, this is one that I'd like to try? And I know there's a lot of stuff you've seen. I mean, our brains are. I mean, there's
It's like
just too
trying to go
much.
through the mental Rolodex right now. It
Mhm.
just doesn't work. This trade show is weird. It's a lot of stuff that looks amazing on paper, but I'd like to kind of hold back and wait till I actually, it's like in the old days when I used to ride the wedge when I was young.
Ride the wedge. You were a boogie boarder.
I was body surf.
Ooh, he is a super kook.
Yes. And some guy said,
He did the body surf movements. It was really
and you
sick,
should see
man.
Mike. Like this should be a video because you should see Mike. He looks like kind of Travolta
We could
right
have
now.
had the full video. We
Yeah,
used to
but
do
This is
that.
the first
used to-
so
Instagram
much
post.
money.
No, from the old days, coming from swimming and water polo, I used to just go body surf the wedge 9 to 5 and then surf afterwards.
Wait, where are you from?
I grew up in Orange County
Whereabouts in
for
Orange
a few
County?
years, and I rode in
Whereabouts?
Irvine and Newport.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't like it. Wasn't me.
Hmm.
Everybody asked me if I was from the Midwest.
You have a very Midwest vibe.
You do have
Yeah.
a Midwest look.
Yeah.
James, by the way, have you lost some weight lately? James looks in great shape. I mean, he snowboards all the time.
Thanks,
You
man.
have to. You don't want to take advice from some fucking like,
No, I got
cholo dude at the trade show
Well,
that lives
Mike,
in fucking some
you-
random place that doesn't snow. And
Mike.
you're like,
You met me after the Thegoodride started becoming successful, where it became my full-time job. And to make that happen, I was indoors for like 2 years, just working in the dark, you know. And before that, I looked like this. And then the site got good, and I could quit my day job. I wasn't working 2 8s, you know. I would work an 8 in a day and an 8 in the night. And then when that happened, I started slowly becoming normal again. And so what you're seeing is actually who I used to be my whole life.
well, obviously, as a
Maybe
surfer.
actually a little fatter.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up with this. I grew up skiing. You mentioned skiing.
Yeah.
I love snowboarding. I'll probably switch back to skiing at a certain point.
Really?
Just try something
Just
different.
Mix it up.
Outside of snowboarding, what else does James and your parent company review?
We do a better ski, but
Oh, wait. What? A better ski? Like you make your own ski? Like you're making skis? You have
Mike-
a press and Lake Tahoe?
Mike, take a sip of that J-Mill. No. So the first editor goes, I don't want to do a good ride. I want to do a better ski because I'm going to be better than you.
Wait. A first editor of what? Well, let's
we have a
backtrack
ski
here.
review site. And he goes,
So wait, if somebody's already looking at your stuff and they snowboard, and maybe their wife skis or their
Yeah.
kids or somebody.
there's a link down at the bottom of the homepage. So
In the corner.
what?
Buried in the corner.
Yeah.
But so what? This is another outlet, but now this is
Yeah.
the good ride, but
'Cause I've
for
always had-
skis.
You and I we've always had friends who are skiers,
Of
right?
course.
And I fucking hate Deer Valley and, and fucking Alta.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
But
Mad River Glen doesn't get blamed enough. They're on that list too.
I thought they were
are.
done.
I
They're
thought they
still
were
there.
done.
They're still segregated.
Oh, because that's
Well-
right. Ski it if you can. Is that
Mhm.
their?
Mike-
Yes.
Mike,
Yeah.
maybe one day we can honor what we tried to do earlier.
We can
You
hold hands
chickened out.
now.
We can. I asked
Sorry,
Mike
Mom.
years ago. I asked Mike years ago to go hold hands and piss on the.
This was the
Deer
first day we
Valley.
had met, and I looked
Yeah.
at this guy like, I was pretty buzzed.
I made
but
him a
was like,
little
I
uncomfortable.
don't know. about
Yeah.
this.
I was like, let's go hold hands and piss on the Deer Valley sign.
And every time we talk, this is the first thing James says. So.
Yeah, true.
I'm okay with it. But honestly, the fact that I was just telling a friend, he said, I want to go to Utah and I've got the Icon Pass. Where should I go? It's, Snowbird, Alta, or Deer Valley. And I said, well, you're a skier. I was like, go to Deer Valley. It's super schwank. I said, but at the same time, I'm so offended that these places, you
Still
couldn't be
have
like,
that.
we don't allow African Americans, or
Yeah.
this is a skate park and we don't allow rollerbladers, or it's like, really? Go fuck your, this surf break. Well, you see it sometimes with surfing where no surfboards are allowed after a certain time. But
The
you-
wedge.
Yeah.
The
Um,
wedge was no bodyboards, nothing. It was all body.
because you could do the
Yes.
flying
Yes.
swan.
You can get down, Superman down. Yeah.
But so a better ski. You, our friend ski. I mean, most of this room there's a lot more ski industry than snowboard industry.
A lot of the snowboard industry is ski industry.
Rosignol, some of
Yeah.
these companies,
It's all
there's
about
legacy
K2,
brands.
yeah, Ride's K2.
Ride, yeah.
Rubbermaid.
What?
Rubbermaid snowboards. Newell. The company that owns K2 and Ride is Newell, which owns Rubbermaid.
This
So
is
I
what
used
I
to
like
just
talking about. This is why I like talking with Mike,
Deep
'cause
in
it's
the
like-
go.
I
Yeah.
love like throwing that
I'm
one
just
in there.
writing shit and I'm living in my bubble, and then I like pop. Mike comes out and pops my bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to talk a lot of, I like to be open, and that's what I do love about your reviews. You guys you're to the point. This is who it works
Thanks,
for.
man.
Check us out riding. I love the footage of you, riding these
Just
big
being average.
He loves it.
turns
He
and then
loves his cars.
switching and then
Yeah.
going back. It's because that's
Oh God.
I miss that side of snowboarding. To be
I
honest,
didn't want to publish that because I was like, why do you want to see me? What the fuck do you want to see me for?
Because
For the
you're
beard.
exceptionally average.
for the beard.
Yeah,
sexy.
it's like a couple readers asked me to start publishing videos of us riding, and I'm like, Maybe Zobel, Jimbo, not me. Steph, definitely not me.
How is
Yeah.
the ski side of things doing for you? Are you starting to
It's limping along.
Okay.
I haven't put the time in and the effort, and I'm focused on what I do,
Yep.
and I'm hoping that, we'll find some people like us, like Steph and I, who are passionate about this, and they'll take it to the next level. But
And it's also the same, sliding on snow. I had a friend that was a professional snowboarder. He's like, you could take a McDonald's tray out and go have fun,
Yeah.
you could,
That's how it started.
Fun.
right?
Right.
The old Burton boards, or
and you think
these.
it would be the best thing till you found a new tray.
Yes.
Yeah,
This tree's faster.
yeah.
This
like,
tray
this
has
tray's
rocker.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, are you going to the on snow demo?
Of course, I gotta get my frantic manic sampler.
Okay.
Because the best thing is the extended reviews.
Yes.
But in certain situations, it's so good to take the same boards, not the same boards, but go out in the same conditions and take different boards out and see how they all interact in that same condition. It's an incomplete review. It's not what we want to do. If it was a perfect world, it would be much better if we just got that board for 2
Yep.
weeks. But having those reviews and doing that comparison, that's what that's for.
Yep.
And it's like you can't dictate your surroundings, but you can, rigid in inception, flexible in
Can
execution.
you say that 3 times in a row?
No,
That was really.
that's like saying judicial when you're drunk.
You spit that out. That was really
Yeah.
nice.
Well, anyways, you've got to adapt to your situation and make it happen. And so figure out how to make these weird demos work.
Okay, I know I said this last, but not
You
least.
hate the demos.
One last time. Let's go around the room. What's everybody's daily, either favorite snowboard or daily driver? And I know this is tough because we all get to ride so many boards, and maybe you don't want to highlight one brand or not.
Why don't
but-
you start, Mike?
Okay, right now I think for going downhill, my favorite board is the Jones Mind Expander.
It's a good board.
And I
Really?
actually
Board.
only have the Splitboard version, and I've been using it with the Union bindings, and I went heli
Expeditions.
skiing and cat skiing
Nice.
with a Split-board with Union bindings with the pin that
Yeah,
spin
right.
a little
It's
bit.
so annoying, but
And
good.
it was fucking
Really good.
incredible.
Okay, wait.
For a solid,
ask you this
hold
question.
on. For,
Oh my God,
for,
you got me excited.
for a solid
This is supposed
board,
to be one daily board.
for a solid
Yeah.
board, oh, you're right.
Oh no, he's going back
Are you
country.
going
and
to-
That's
I'm
great.
Passionate about
There's
saying,
Hey, Mike,
I'm gonna go
be
to
you,
what
be
the fuck,
you.
like-
For
Yeah.
a solid board, the Never Summer Mavericks. Oh my god, as
You
a
like that board?
surfer,
I like the Mavericks.
Oh, it was fucking. It felt so surfy, and
I
this
liked
little
it. I
short
didn't
tail and this
love it,
nose and
personally.
but those are the two that I really love. Let's take it to
This,
Jim.
this actually segues beautifully into mine because I have a Mavericks, and what I like about it is a lot like my daily board, but doesn't suck at powder. Because I have a Never Summer Cobra, which is my daily.
No, that's old.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a stiff
That's
board.
not
isn't it?
quite
I'm-
Indiana
I'm a-
Jones
look at
old.
you.
but
I'm a big
yeah,
boy.
Yeah.
You can't see that on the podcast.
Oh,
but
wait,
I'm not-
so how big are you?
I'm usually around 200. I'm 5'10", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So, and it's a 158 Cobra. That is my daily board, and it's good at everything but terrible at powder.
How tall are you, Jim?
5'10".
And you're riding the 158. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
That's what I rode with the Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was 5'10", 200 to 220, depending on how much work
So
I
you
did.
could handle that board. That board rode me.
That board, you could set that back and ride it really
Reverse
well.
rolls.
So boards are like my children. Just there's
You have
no
two?
favorite. Yeah, I have 30 boards in my quiver,
He has a lot of children.
and I have a lot of. I'm like early Utah, you know.
Did you get?
I'm like
did you get
early
the-
Irish,
did
you
you
know,
get the
like
snip
I'm like
yet?
Irish.
Not yet. His
I
wife wants
almost did. So okay, Mike.
Wait,
old.
I'm sorry.
Last question.
Last question.
Mike,
Keep
I'm
going.
fucking
Last
old.
question. Family planning. Go.
Vasectomy, yes. No,
Condoms.
I'm
No.
old and broken. I just went on a surf trip and broke my xiphoid process.
Is
It's
that-
the end of
That's
your
the
sternum.
Little-
It looks like a
little
tail. So I went to Mexico. Great. I'll show you pictures afterwards. Great barrels, good times.
This, if we had Instagram, we could be looking
Oh.
at photos. Sorry.
But but I had a head-on collision and my sternum hardened. So I haven't surfed in a couple years, like 6-8 hours a day. And I went to this trip and surfed there. And at the end, I had this just bump in my chest. And then it started wearing away and getting, look, see the scar?
Check
He
you
likes to
out.
show his boobs.
And look at that. That's small. It used to be about the size of my fist. And it looked like an alien attached to my face.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I took it off and I'm like, cool, let's all go eat.
Check me out.
Yeah, I'm here in the dining hall. It's all cool. Yeah. And I broke my xiphoid process. My sternum hardened. I sat on my surfboard too long.
Mhm.
It snapped off. And it's just like, so I have to get a xiphoidectomy and a vasectomy in one summer.
So
Can they just do it
The
one
year
go
of the
while you're on the
ectomy.
rack, or-
Yeah, it's the year of the ectomy.
back to the snowboard.
It's not the worst, not the worst surgeries I've had either. Yeah.
Okay, the Mavericks, whatever. What daily? If you're not working, and this is so hard because I interviewed John Jackson. I'm like, those guys don't get to go free ride. They're like work. Every
think
once in a while, I get to go
Peter
snowboard
and
for
John
myself.
Jackson.
It's like,
Peter
So
and John
nice.
Jackson went partying one night. They just became friends and just went out. Yeah.
I asked John Jackson on this podcast. I said, "So you're a pretty spiritual guy." I said, "How do you check your ego?" He's like, "Whoa, bro, that's a really deep question." Check out that episode. I think it was like episode 17 or whatever.
Sounds
it is.
way more fun than this one.
People are probably not listening anymore. We're an hour and 13 minutes in. But for the rest of you that are
I
listening,
told Mike I was like 20 minutes, man.
typically these are 30
He's had it
30 to
pretty
40
already.
minute interviews. But people are listening on iTunes to about 90%. By the end, they're like, "Fuck this dude." So really quick,
Cool.
boards. What's your daily driver, and what are you excited by? What are you looking forward to trying this year?
I don't have the time.
To try
I don't,
boards.
I don't have the time
He
to
doesn't
answer
have
this
one
question.
What board
Steph
is
and
what
Zobel
board,
ask
what
me
board
this
is
every
mounted
day.
up with bindings in your car? What's the next board that you're gonna ride? That's an easy question.
No, I didn't bring one.
At the demo,
No, I'm gonna ride all the boards.
what are you going to first? At
and
the
then
demo?
afterwards,
You're just gonna
some
go to the
people
first
are-
booth that you see. It's like dinosaurs will
Nice and
die.
pretty.
or something.
I'm gonna look at the
random.
conditions and figure out what might be the best board to try in that condition.
Out of what you've seen today, just give me a couple boards. People are listening.
This is
It's
this
okay
is
to
like
have
when
an opinion.
Yeah,
everybody-
it doesn't fucking
everybody
matter. It's not like
asks
you're getting
me-
advertising dollars from the brands. So fuck it.
no,
tell
I
them.
never have.
Be
And-
honest.
But here's the weird part. I'm literally confused at that question.
Okay, let's move
because-
on. Somebody
yeah,
else answer.
I'm literally-
You'll come back to it.
There's-
Think
we'll come
about
back
it.
to Biesty.
Mike, there's
Think about
there's literally hundreds of boards going through my Rolodex, and it's like it all depends on the condition, the time, and my mood.
All right. Well, my favorite brand is Capita, but my favorite daily driver is the Capita Mercury. Love the sports.
Oh,
True
that's
twin.
a good board. Yeah.
True twin. It's hybrid camber. So camber under feet, rocker on both ends. It's amazing. It's stiffened underneath, so it has it's reinforced, and it's great. All mountain freestyle. Like you can take it aggressive if you want to as well, and just go bomb it down a slope. It's amazing. I've had it for 2 seasons now.
Sick.
It's just killer. And going to your uphill scheme is then I have two splits. But I got the K2 Ultra Split, which is my just go-to. It's a powder day. Who cares? But I realized that very quickly it was not cambered enough to handle the spicier conditions. So then I picked up the Capita Neo Slasher with the Expedition.
Oh, that's a
bindings.
fun board. Yeah.
It is a super fun board, and it was holding edge on a very steep and spicy
Really?
Kubar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it's hybrid camber, but with more rocker.
Oh, isn't
up
it
front.
flat to rocker?
No.
The Navigator?
No,
And
it's cambered.
you were on the unions.
Yes. So I have Spark R&Ds on my K2, but then the unions on the Capita, and I like.
Yeah. Oh,
I really do enjoy the.
These guys are
Sparks.
whispering in the background, so let's
Yeah,
go.
I
yes,
really-
we're nerdy.
We're geeking.
Yeah.
I really do love the Spark and their tech and the no pin system.
Yep.
However, the unions ride amazingly.
Yep.
You cannot beat that.
Actually, to hopefully go up with Mike one day and learn a little safety, a little this, a little that. I was like, I bought some Splitboard bindings,
What'd you get?
just Union, because
The expeditions.
I got the FC Expeditions only because the high back wasn't that stiff. Because I have even featured calves.
Yeah.
And stiff high backs bite. Yeah. So
I can't use the carbon high back. These gnarly. I'm like, that's so
It's too
burly.
much.
Who's
So
the
much.
Xavier De La Rue?
Yeah.
We're not Xavier. On the women's side, what's hot?
Well, I kind of have I'm not a surfer. You guys are probably like, you know, I just ride, you know, my all mountain freestyle. Well, it's an all mountain freestyle to me, but I
Okay.
have my Yes Emoticon.
Ooh.
Just camber underfoot, rocker, tip and tail. It's got a little bit of the underbite.
I remember in like
Yeah.
just this deep
That's all I
powder
need.
day, like 3 feet of powder. And Steph's on a twin, and I'm like on
So
the
that,
most setback board I can get. And I just look at her,
Right
I'm
every
like,
day.
"You're cool with this?"
Yeah.
You're like, "Yeah, love
I
it."
don't switch
No.
it out. If I'm not working, I'm instructing on the mountain every day. That's the board I go to. If I'm riding, whatever. Take
But
it
that's
up
what I
there.
love about Steph is like I hand her a Gentum stick, and she goes, "All right." She's like, "I got it." Yeah.
Doesn't look great. Give it a try.
I love that you can just ride, and that's where I think these quiver boards are pretty ridiculous. My friend Josh Millay, he passed away snowboarding. He had just gotten the cover of Trans World. He was definitely the next Travis Rice. I mean, anybody that's been in Colorado knew of his name. If you don't, Google him and just next level. And he would ride like a 57 twin tip and be in the pound. People are like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I set it in the back seat and I just fucking leaned back." Like, holy shit, you don't
just
need.
go really fast.
No, like,
That's
so-
the difference between us and them.
Yes,
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
Jim, what's your boards? Did you already? We already
Still the
talked
Cobra.
about-
Yeah.
Hasn't
Sorry.
changed.
Yeah.
Sorry, hasn't changed. And well, back to James. You have to give us. Just name some boards. Just spit them out.
The Goodride favorites. Come on, there's
Yeah,
Well,
you got
There is a list, right? Best
Look,
of.
I've really had a great time on the Mind Expander. That
it's
that
a
literally
great board.
like
Really?
that base is like Gentum stick fast.
Yes.
So
Love
where
that.
it doesn't have like maybe that quick float, it has that acceleration that brings it up.
Yes.
It's like starting up like a jet ski or
Yes.
something, you know.
And you're always sitting on top of the snow with that one, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit more of a.
And God, for powder, it's like the Spring Break. They make amazing
love it.
boards, you know. I
And
love
that's
how they
explain that. That's a capita thing.
Capita. They have
It's
a
like-
couple different of the.
They
spring
have
breaks.
all, yeah. It's like every
Tree
board's a
Hunter
different
and
version.
other
I
kinds
never
of
know how to
features.
Right.
it's just confusing. But
And they're
it's
not even-
fucking great.
Capita is
you know?
so weird for me. For so many years, again, it was a brand that was too cool for me. I was like, I can't ride Capita. Their graphics were all like, "Ooh, check me out." And then I rode the Neos or what's the Splitboard? The
Neo Slasher.
Neo
Yeah.
Slasher.
Yeah.
Funny thing about Capita, I was in British Columbia a couple weeks ago. My friend ordered a Neo Slasher in September from a ski shop. We're getting into some gossip here. Capita lost their press.
But nobody's
their
listening
press
right
broke.
now.
Nobody's listening. Nobody
Yeah.
listens to this podcast. Capita's press broke, and so they're not able to press those boards right now.
Really?
And so there's
Aw,
this
bummer.
major back order in the mothership or whatever because they have to get the guys from some other country to come in and they can't get the visas. So your board right now is super valuable. Anybody, if you can buy
Sell it.
that,
All right.
Yeah, Zobel's like,
ever
"All right,
jump
all right."
on it because
It's
I
an
know-
amazing board. I will
I'm
never
gonna
sell.
sell a Neo Slasher and
No.
then buy one.
And like Evo
With
and a
the
couple of the
profits.
outlets still have them
Yeah.
for sale, but it was really interesting to hear that. I mean, supply and demand.
Yeah.
No, my two favorite powder boards, the Mind Expander and the Spring Break 58.
Okay.
And
And you
And
live
then-
okay, so you're a powder whore. You live in Bend.
no,
what
I'm
about
not
that?
a powder whore.
that guy
I just show up Monday through
But
Friday.
What about the guy that's not riding powder? What's so
Well,
good board
then
for
from
him?
there, I was just gonna work my way down. And it's too long, Mike. You got to cut this off, man.
Give him a groomer board.
Oh gosh.
I'm not cutting out shit. This is
The
going to be
yes
the longest
grades.
interview ever.
The yes grades
Yes.
ace him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's
so
great.
much
And
fun.
yes, grades you can take on groomers, you can take on park, you can take
Mhm.
freestyle on the mountain. It's all around
Yeah.
amazing board.
Is that
And then-
DCP's like main or
I don't know.
whatever the guy
I don't know.
David Kircher?
Decent
Porsche,
just
yeah.
Take shots with him. I don't know, like and occasionally, like I'll look outside my bubble and see him do some cool shit.
What do you think's the most final question?
Yeah,
Most
I've heard that before.
most popular snowboard right now in the industry. What do you? I
I
mean,
don't know.
I would say like Burton
I wouldn't-
Custom.
I
When my
wouldn't-
friends like ask me in
I wouldn't
California
know
that don't
I wouldn't
shred.
know that, Mike. I don't.
What board do you see the most comments on?
I don't read press. I just get questions.
What boards do you get the most comments on or questions?
The last year I've had over 3,000 emails,
Okay.
and they're all different. So
How do we get a hold of you?
email me through the Me Harmony profile. That's the best
You don't
way.
want to give out your actual email address right
just info at Thegoodride, but don't email me through that, because if you have a specific question, follow our contact us thing. If
Contact
you want,
us on the
like, if
website,
you want
thegoodride.com.
snowboard advice or boot advice or binding advice, go through the contact us profile on Thegoodride, because I ask you a series of questions.
Yep.
So it saves me fucking time, and I don't want anybody to, like, don't
now?
contact
He's
me on
getting a little
Facebook.
buzzed.
Yeah, don't contact me on Facebook. Don't contact me on Instagram. Contact me through Thegoodride, because it might be a one email exchange. If you contact me directly, it's going to be like, I'm 5'10", 200 pounds, and I ride this. And I'm like, well, what's your boot size? What, you know?
Can
I,
people come out and ride with you?
Of course. They have. People come up to me in the parking lot and go, can we ride with you? I'm like, well, I lift up my trunk and I'm like, what do you want to ride? Just like you, you're like, I have these splits. If you want to come try them,
For
and I'm going to come try them.
Please do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
Invite-
James. Again, if people want to follow along with your reviews, I think you're the #1 snowboard review site in the industry, hands
Jeez,
down.
thanks.
There used to be Shea Boarder, and she
was
was
wonderful.
she did so
She's
good,
a
and then she
sweetheart.
was like, I can't. She was more, I think, focused on revenue, where you do this out of passion, and then all of a sudden now you get to live the lifestyle and support other people.
Thanks, Mike.
Last but not least, how do they find you? Said that 5 times.
Just Mike, you're
I'm
wonderful.
so bad.
I love you, man.
Yeah.
Just thegoodride.com. Just go there and just email me through the contact us page.
Solid. Well, thank you, team, everybody, James specifically. Everybody, just say your names again that's here.
Jim O'Leary with Mountain Weekly News and Tailgate Alaska.
Oh, thank you for throwing that out there.
Jim, that's not Irish at all. James
No.
Beisty.
Stephanie Wilkerson.
Matt Zobel.
Thanks, team. I appreciate it. Solid.